Provident is excited to add a layer of technology to their Hope After suicide prevention program aimed at adults. Joining me from Provident is Stephanie Lessmeier, and from Epharmix, Blake Marggraff. Thank you so both of you for being here today.
Thank you.
So it's always really exciting when you get an opportunity to talk about where sort of healthcare and technology meet, and in this case specifically with suicide prevention. So I want to maybe start things off and have you first tell us about the Hope After suicide prevention program, and then we'll kind of bring Blake into the discussion of how and where we are now with the new technology that you have going on. So why don't you start us off with the program?
Great. So Hope After is a suicide prevention program, and it's really there to provide support for people after a suicide crisis. So after they call the crisis hotline or after they're released from the hospital, they get referred to our program, and we call them and offer them supportive calls. We do supportive letters, and we send them text messages a few times a week through Epharmix to keep in touch with them in between those calls.
Okay, so this is an ongoing program that you had. Provident has been around for more than 100 years. So how long did the suicide prevention program exist, but even before working with Epharmix?
So our program has been around since 2013.
Okay.
It's still fairly new.
Okay, so let's talk about where this sort of brings together with Epharmix and where that marriage happens and what it is that you now have, and get into the details of it. So Blake, why don't you tell us about the actual automated text program that's integrated?
Absolutely. So Provident and the Hope After program use automated text messages from Epharmix to track the members that are being monitored for symptomatology that might indicate that they're at risk for potentially committing suicide or trying to commit suicide, which is a very heavy topic, but the technology itself is very simple. It comes across from the patient's perspective as coming directly from Provident, feels non-judgmental, and asks very simple questions. And then, of course, on the technology back-end, algorithms determine what and how to ask those patients.
Okay, so we're just going to kind of get into the details because we're looking at some graphics up there that I think show the specifics. So you have your members, you have your patients, and these are people who have attempted suicide before, correct?
Or have had suicidal thoughts.
Okay. So you have their number and you have their information. And so they will receive a text on their phone. And give me an example like we're looking at. What this says, what is your blood sugar today?
Perfect. So obviously that's focused more on the population of patients with diabetes.
Right.
But for Provident, it might be as simple as asking about that patient's mood and trying, rather than taking a snapshot of the patient, to build a long-term video of that patient's mood and mental health over time.
Okay, so that patient receives that text, and you clearly have a variety of questions that it's programmed to ask, and then they respond, and then where does that response go from there?
So if they're having a low mood, Hope After, an alert is triggered so that Hope After can call them back. And if they're having a low mood, they're asked if they're having thoughts of suicide by the Epharmix system. And then if they say yes, they're automatically connected to our crisis line for immediate support. And then Hope After will also call them back later to give them more support.
Okay, so if based on their response, it is programmed again to go to your hotline to have a call. I think one of the biggest things with mental health is sometimes, based on how people are feeling, is that lapse of time between they can get to their care team or their caregiver to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or when you're going into whatever thoughts you might be having. And then it could be like a day that passes sometimes for people if they're trying to reach out. And this is the aim of this is to prevent that lapse in time, to have it automatic.
Exactly. Yep. And looking at some of the qualitative feedback from patients who have been on the system, you see a range of sentiments such as it's non-judgmental, but very specific feedback such as it gives me hope, it gives me confidence, it makes me feel like I have a partner in getting out of this hole. So it's kind of a nice companion.
Right, because it's live. Well, I want to, when we come back from the when we start the segment, look at sort of the before and after and kind of look at some of that. But for now, we've got the information there for you on the screen. That's Provident Inc. You can reach out to them. Their life crisis hotline is there on the screen. You can learn more about the specific program going to providentstl.org. We also have Epharmix's information right there. You can call them 866-976-8910 or go to epharmix.com to learn more about their really interesting work that they're doing. But stay with us at STL Live. We'll have more with Provident and Epharmix right after this.